Hi, this is Matt Brown. This is my case study for internet use violations in Module 14. What do I know from the case study so far? I know that Miss Tate is a first-year teacher at a prestigious high school. She is a little older than most first-year teachers. She decided to further her education by completing her master's and even began a little bit of her doctorate work. She has a very stingy grading system in her science classes that upsets parents and students in a school and a community where students compete for valedictorian and salutatorian. This causes a high level of stress for the students. Because of this, the next thing we know that students and parents frequently complain to Dr. Smith, who is the principal of the school, about the high levels of stress, the poor instruction, the heavy workload that Miss Tate puts on the students. Dr. Smith has given her several techniques on how to lower student stress in her classroom. Although he's given her several, she has not implemented them successfully yet. And the last thing we know that somebody anonymously emailed Miss Tate a link to a Facebook page entitled "Who Wants Miss Tate to Disappear?" The page insinuates that somebody wants Miss Tate dead, or they're just trying to scare her, but whichever one it is, it has her scared for her life. She refuses to sleep in her own apartment, and the first person she decided to name as a suspect was a young man named William Tate, and that's what we know so far. So what do I need to know? I need to know who is behind the Facebook page, first and foremost, and who sent the unidentified email to Miss Tate. I need to know if there is someone in the school or around the community that wants to physically harm Miss Tate, and I need to know what the school policies are for the internet usage violations, and then consult the superintendent of the district, and then possibly even the Board of Education, if necessary, of the matter at hand. Okay, so we have identified the problem, which was a person or a group has violated the internet use violation by using threats online. We do not know if it is a parent or a student. An anonymous person is using a fake email account to send teachers emails with threatening content, and a Facebook page has been created that threatens and spreads lies about the teacher. Okay, so plan of action. The first thing I need to do is I'd like to notify the superintendent of the situation, kind of consult him. And I wholeheartedly believe that the next step is I need to contact the authorities of a possible death threat, and then contact the district technologist to attempt to uncover whoever sent the email if it's possible. After I've done that, I will call William Hall, followed by his friends, into my office and start doing some investigating myself. For her own protection, I would allow Miss Tate to take a short leave of absence until the situation is resolved. When she returns, we will revisit the high-stress environment she creates in her class, and we'll work on them to resolve any future conflicts. Some appropriate strategy I would use to implement my plan. Asking the district technologist to uncover the origins of the email will help us get to the bottom of who is at least involved in the situation. We don't know if it's one person, if it's 10 people, 20, we don't know yet. Because of the situation needs to be taken seriously, the authorities would need to be called and informed of the current events. They would need to be kept up to speed throughout this process. I would not place any blame on William Hall to begin with. Although he is a person of interest, due process is a key component in situations like this. He is innocent until he is proven guilty. I would then work on Miss Tate's classroom instruction to provide students with a more positive learning environment experience without jeopardizing the importances of her class. So how does my resolution to the problem promote success of all students? By not immediately placing the blame on William Hall, I'm giving him a chance to defend himself from being accused of something he may not have even done. He may not even know anything about it. Alerting the authorities of a death threat shows to all of the students that these situations, real or fake, are to be taken seriously and will absolutely not be tolerated while I would be in charge. Having a conversation with Miss Tate about her classroom instruction techniques will end up providing students with a much lower stress environment while getting information that they need in order to succeed throughout school. I believe that all these actions I took promotes the success for all the students in the school. The resolution to the plan, giving examples. Miss Tate was very quick to accuse student William Hall without any factual evidence. I cannot blame him for the incident. I can treat him as a person of interest and start the investigation with him. Death threats are not something to be taken lightly. The Facebook page stated that people want Miss Tate to disappear. Whether or not they actually meant death or if they're just trying to scare her, it has to be taken seriously. The students and parents are clearly unhappy with Miss Tate and her teaching methods. By decreasing the workload and providing a less stressful environment will increase their satisfaction with her classes. So at first I was feeling concern for Miss Tate. One of my educators was threatened and possibly by a student in our own school or even a parent. Out of concern for Miss Tate, I was thinking I had no choice but to call the authorities. If the situation had turned to be an actual death threat and something happened to Miss Tate or somebody attempted to carry something out, not only would the school have been in serious trouble, but I would have struggled personally knowing I could have done more to stop that, and I would probably be in legal trouble having that information but not acting on it. If the students and parents are this unhappy with this teacher and her teaching techniques, something obviously needs to change. Though I still value the students and the teachers, Miss Tate clearly is an intelligent young teacher who has a very bright future ahead of her. We would not want to do anything to lose her, so we would do everything we could to help her succeed. So what issues are still unresolved? At this point, everyone involved that were not identified is still an issue. We only have one person of interest right now, so there could be a whole list of people. This isn't something that just one person did, just doesn't feel like it. And then it is still unknown if any parents were involved in the situation, and it is still unknown whether or not they were death threats or if it's someone just trying to change Miss Tate into changing her teaching techniques. So how did I, the education leader of the building, apply knowledge that promotes success of every student acting with integrity? Well, first, as the education leader, I showed integrity by taking the situation seriously. Providing Miss Tate the option to take a short leave of absence showed that I care about her well-being and I wanted her to feel safe. As the education leader, I showed integrity by calling the authorities to report the incident. It would have been easy to try and sweep this under the rug and try to keep it in-house to protect the image of the school. But in a case like this, a building leader has to do the right thing. And as the education leader, not condemning Mrs. Tate for her teaching strategies and providing her with classroom teaching strategies to promote a positive classroom showed integrity. We wouldn't want to get rid of Miss Tate. As we've learned, she's very talented, she's very intelligent, and we'd like to keep her around. But she obviously needs some help with her presentation. And that's one thing we would try and do. We would try to work with her to give her and her classroom that positive environment. So how did I, the education leader in the building, apply knowledge that promotes success by every student by acting with fairness? By not automatically assuming William Hall was guilty showed fairness towards the students. I had zero physical evidence to prove that he was even involved. But calling in William Hall also showed fairness to Miss Tate by listening to her concerns and her opinions on the situation. And hearing out Miss Tate and listening to her concerns and theories on the situation, given the fact that she had been complained about consistently by students and parents, still showed fairness towards her. And how did I, the education leader of the building, apply knowledge that promotes the success of every student by acting in an ethical manner? So as the building leader, considering the school policy when I go through this decision-making process shows a level of ethics because I'm not making a judgment based on just how I feel. You know, there's a process to all this, and it's not just me. It's part of a bigger picture. Letting the authorities know the situation shows that I am taking every precaution necessary to go through this difficult decision in the correct way. It also shows that Miss Tate, that I am taking this situation very seriously too. Asking the superintendent of the district to show a level of ethics. This shows that I need to consult the higher-ups before making any situation.